Matt, today we're going to talk about another in our series of strategies that are effective for individuals wanting to protect their online reputation, push down links, and really take control of what people see when they Google them. Today's strategy is what I call an exact match domain, and that basically is a domain name which exactly or really closely matches the keyword that you're trying to protect. And that usually is the person's name. So this is a pretty involved strategy, I would think, because not everyone even knows how do I even start and how do I go about doing this. So let's pull back the curtain a little bit. Can you explain how you would go about doing this?
Yeah, so let's say you have a negative article for a town you're arrested in, and your name is Mike Smith. Obviously, because your name's so common, people that search just Mike Smith aren't going to find it. So they're searching Mike Smith, San Francisco.
Okay.
So what you would do is buy the domain MikeSmithSanFrancisco.com, so you hit the keywords that way. Or for businesses, what's a really fun, popular thing to do is business name plus word reviews. So clients are always researching business name plus word reviews to try to find the dirt on people. And usually Google's kind of a jerk about it and always has the negative links at the top for that search. So that strategy works really well for businesses. Works for everything. So if you can't find it, if somehow it has been taken, then do it .me, but .com is usually the way to go. $12 a year through GoDaddy, whatnot. Hosting, a few bucks a month. Set it up through WordPress, easy. Anyone can code it, edit it. They have all these beautiful free templates nowadays. It's a really good bang for your buck.
And then, okay, so let's assume that someone has got, they bought the domain, they got WordPress installed on it. How do you then go about setting up that website? I mean, is it a standalone one-page site that just targets Mike Smith, San Francisco?
I like to do it as 3 pages. You have the main page with a little blurb about the person, maybe more image focused, kind of headers and little tabs and stuff. Or not tabs, but like little sections. And then you'll have a about me page, which third person just talk about their resume. And then a little contact us page, so if people want to reach out to you, there's a nice little form.
And then, of course, there's no guarantee that once you do this, that site is going to pop onto page 1 of Google, is there?
It usually does well, and you can always SEO it, click team it, promote it. But naturally, if you hit the keywords, it should do well on its own. Depends which service you use to. Fast hosting is huge. If a site loads slow because you decided to cheap out on hosting, that will be detrimental.
When you do these sites for clients, I mean, are you using GoDaddy or do you have someone preferred that you use?
So we buy the domain through GoDaddy. Just we buy in such bulk, we go to for like $10 a piece instead of 12. Huge savings. And then we used to use GoDaddy hosting. Hopefully they don't sue me for this, but we didn't love it. So we switched to SiteGround, and that's been really good.
And is it good because it's faster or?
Exactly, yeah, loads faster, less downtime. Yeah, GoDaddy, I think they're a good registrar to buy the domain. And the reason we do GoDaddy as well to buy it through is because so many of our clients, GoDaddy is such the #1 site that it's easy for us to transfer a domain. So let's say a client cancels, we're not going to hold their website hostage from them. It's just not right. So we'll transfer to them and we tell them, sign up for GoDaddy and we'll transfer to your number easily.
Right. And then back to the hosting, the site speed, someone watching this might be like, well, why is that important? And I think the answer is because that's an important factor when it comes to SEO and how high Google is going to rank a website. Site speed, a site that loads quickly is going to rank better than a site that loads slowly.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why hosting is very important. But where you buy a domain doesn't have to be the same as where you host it. You can easily mix and match.
Okay, that's a really
Well,
good
not
point.
easily, but nowadays everyone wants your money. There's always frequently asked questions on every website nowadays that'll tell you how to do things. And luckily, because GoDaddy is so universal, that it's nice plug and play.
Got you. And then, so you said basically a 3-page website, homepage, about me page, contact page.
Mhm.
I mean, should the person start a blog on that website? Is that necessary?
Yeah, I mean, it depends how much time you have. The more, the merrier. More things you can add. You can add another tab of my family vacation picture, stuff like that. The more in depth you can do it, the better. But again, you don't want to be overloading the site with so much data heavy images that the site loads slow. So you got to keep it in check. There's a thing called Google Page Speed. It's free, easy. It'll analyze your site and tell you what it thinks of it. So always run that site. And if you notice that your site's getting too slow, maybe you can downsize the pictures to not make them as high definition or take a few off. But that's usually after you have a lot of photos uploaded. Yeah, whatever interests you, just talk about it, put it online. More the merrier to some degree. You don't want to have, the first page just endlessly scroll of images, and you want to be user friendly. And then if you're a business or if you're an individual trying to get business, or you're a consultant, a big thing is thing called the call to action button. So it's above the fold where you don't have to scroll, so it's on the top of the page. And you want the person to do something so either buy a product or to contact you or to read more, whatever your goal is. So you want to have a nice, beautiful button that drives them to do what you want them to do.
Right. So in terms of for online reputation, I mean, how much would you wouldn't spend elaborate amounts of money on site design? I think you mentioned you would use
nowadays it's so easy. And my grandma could build a WordPress site in a half hour tops.
And then use a free theme that they provide.
Exactly. There's so many free themes. They're beautiful. They're better than things that a lot of these web companies will design you for $500.
Right. So the goal is to make it, acceptable looking, acceptable level of content. The real goal though is to get it to rank on page 1 for your name.
Yeah. Yeah. And if it does well, which it should, you can always do a second one. I wouldn't do more than 2 or 3. So eventually if you were to do 10, Google's only going to show 2 or 3. But
right.
You could do Mike Smith dash San Francisco, for example. Yeah, you can have some fun with it. Play around with it. You'll notice there's no rhythm, right? But some will pop, some won't.
Yeah. And would you always do a .com over like a .org or a .net or you mentioned .me?
Yeah, now that .coms are all getting filled up, initially Google had a big preference towards .coms. I think it seems like it's steering away from that, but I still think there's definitely a slight priority of a .com. But yeah, I think it's starting to more balance out.
Yeah. Well,
this is to do well.
So this is a pretty good strategy. It's obviously a little bit more advanced. If you need help and you want to, get some online reputation work done proactively to, build up the way you look online, or if you have a negative link that you want to push down, go ahead and contact us or follow the tips that we're providing here. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah. So if you do buy a service through us, we do these websites for you for free. We handle it all for you. You just sit back, relax.
Yeah, not have to worry about the technical side of things.
Yeah, that's not too hard. Don't be discouraged. Everyone should do it. If you're going to go down this route yourself, it's definitely a necessity.
Great. All right. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.